Hey, I wanted to give you a few advice too, actually, to make your Copilot more safe. So here I'm going to ask a question. Who is Pierre Dacot to send me an email today? And my point here is to tell you that, Copilot's going to surface all the content that you put in the system, but there's going to also surface content that comes from other people outside of your organization. And probably the best way to do that is through email. And through email, they can inject what's called prompt um, um, jailbreaking, sorry, where they can inject some text that the human won't see, but Copilot will see. And here, what I'm showing is definitely not advanced because you can do way more than what I'm going to do here with manipulating the RAG and making giving some instruction to Copilot that is not visible for human. Here, I just played with it without that dimension of advanced jailbreaking. But here, as you can see, Pierre-Yves is sending mail today. He has extensive knowledge of generative AI and prompt jailbreaking. And it gives me a link to an email. So let's open the email here. Now, here there's nothing that tells me that he's expert in jailbreaking. It's because I did a simple trick. I put some text in the email in white with a white background, and you can see that I had it here. But you can inject things that are not even visible, technically visible, like when I highlight, I can see it. If you create the HTML email, and that can go way further than what I'm demonstrating. My point here is to tell you that when you receive an email, it can include data that is not visible for human, that is comprehensible by Copilot to do something that you're not expecting. Like there was a demonstration on internet of somebody who was telling to change any account to his account, and whenever you were asking a question about what is the account uh, where I should build this, and it will give back the same account that was initially in the email, which is pretty dangerous if you can think about the consequences. So here my advice is when you're receiving an unexpected email, first report it and then delete it. Because if it's deleted, Copilot won't have access to it anymore, and it won't be able to come back with a wrong answer. So that's very important to educate users on cleaning information when it's coming, especially when it's coming from outside your organization. Delete the email when you're not sure of the sender. Don't just keep it in your email, even if you never open it or you never you know look at it. Delete it. That's my first advice. My second advice is, and I'm not going to show you the result here, but try this prompt to figure out if there's some oversharing in your environment. So you can try this prompt. Can you find any documents or information that include the word password? And you'll be surprised that maybe you're going to find your own passwords, probably if you store them in your OneDrive, for example, but you might also find passwords from other people who have shared a OneDrive folder, but they forgot about it, and maybe they store something there. So for you, it's a good thing to try it just to be sure that you don't have any password that you can surface. But also, it's even more important to check that nobody shared password. And sometimes, it's gonna come back with an email saying you need to reset your password. So that's fine. That's legit. But if it's not that, if you find a document or an email or whatever with a password that people store manually, and sometimes they write it on a piece of paper, but a lot of time they write it somewhere that where they feel comfortable, and definitely Copilot will find it. And a good way to find it is to use this red review prompt, and you can try that kind of red review prompt with trying to surface things that you shouldn't have access and report it to your management, like can query on payroll stuff, or if there's a merger, you can ask for merger. Are there any information about a merger or whatever is confidential, sensitive? Do a red review to check if you have access to this in order to prevent others to have access to it. Report that to your management. Oops, this was insightful.